Started. Be'ezras Hashem. Today's daf is Masechta Bava Kamma daf Lamed Gimel, and we're beginning from Lamed Beis and Beis, about 7 lines from the bottom. Rapapa. So let's just get this. Okay, so we're beginning on daf Lamed Beis and Beis, 7 lines from the bottom. Let's just review what we're discussing over here. Okay. Okay. Hold on, let me just read this. Somebody has. Hold on. Okay. Okay. So we learned in the Gemara a little bit on Lamed Beis and Beis. Hanichnas lechanusay shel nagar. Somebody goes into the store of a carpenter without permission, and v'nitza bakas v'tafcha alpanav, and one like piece of wood shot out and hit him on the face. Umeis. And then the person died. Potter. The nichnas b'rshus, but if he got permission, if the carpenter said, come into my store, and then he hit him on the face, chayev, yechayev. So my chayev, what does it mean chayev? So Amar Rabbi Yosi bar Chanina said, this means chayev b'dala dvarim. You're chayev to pay for damages, nezik, tsar, ripu, shevis, u'boishes. Those are the dala dvarim. But upotter al golos, you won't go into exile for killing him. Okay, that was what Rabbi Yosi bar Chanina said. So we go down to the page, and the Gemara is discussing how to apply the words of Rabbi Yosi bar Chanina. Rav Papa mishmei de Rava masnol areisha. Rav Papa, in the name of Rava, explained Rabbi Yosi bar Chanina on the beginning of the Mishnah. On the beginning of that brisa, again, haniknas lechanusa shanaga shloi b'rshus. Someone went into the store of a carpenter without permission. He just walked right in. It's a dangerous place, right? The nitzaloi bekas v'tafkaloi apanav, and some things shot out and hit him in the face. Umeis, and he died. Potter. On this, Rabbi Yosi bar Chanina said the fact that he went in shloi b'rshus, if he would have gotten damaged, right, you would have still been chayav ba'abor devarim. Even though the guy came into your auto mechanic shop without permission, he walked right where it says no, only employees, no customers allowed, and he walked right in, you're chayav ba'abor devarim, because a person who's working there should always be aware that maybe somebody's coming in, and an adam hamazik is even by mistake or by oinus, you're chayav to pay. Upotter megalus, but nevertheless, if you would have killed that person, you potter from galus, because one, it's not your fault, you're an oinus, and two, it's not like the case that the Torah gives you when you go to galus. The Torah's case, so when you go to galus, is when two people enter a common place called a forest. One guy's chopping a tree down, and the other guy just walked into the forest, and then the top of the axe came off and hit that other person and killed him. So there, it's an open area belonging to anybody. Here, the case of the Nagar is somebody coming into, without permission, to the domain of somebody else, to the person that killed them. So that's why you're potter megalus. So man the masnala seifa kolshken areisha. Somebody who said it on the end of the brisa, when a person went into the storefront without permission, with permission, that you don't go to galus kolshken areisha. Certainly in the beginning of the brisa, you wouldn't go to galus if you went in without permission. Man the masnala reisha, but according to Rav Papa, who said it goes on the reisha, that if you go in without permission, then you're potter from galus. Aval aseifa, but on the end of the brisa, if you had permission, if the person had permission to walk into the store, kaven the b'rshus, since he had permission to go into the store, it's almost like it's very similar to the case of the Torah, where 2 people have permission to go into that forest. So then Yechai B'Galus, you'll be obligated to go to Galus if the person got killed. Says the Gemara. Umichayev Golas. In the case that Rav Papa said that even if you go in Brushus, you're chayev to go to Golas, that's what you're just saying right now. That even Rav Papa Kolshkein on the Sefer. But Tanya, we learned in a Brisa, Hanichnas lechanusa. Somebody goes into the store of a blacksmith. And a spark came out and hit him in the face, and he died. So he's potter from Golas. Even if he had a right to go into the blacksmith store with permission, the blacksmith said you could come in. So how come by the carpenter case we say you're potter on Golas? And here, this Brisa says, when you come into a blacksmith store, even if you go in with Rishus, the blacksmith is potter on Golas. And here, in our Brisa, you're saying Yechayev begolas. I'm sorry, Yechayev begolas. Answers the Gemara, Hocha b'mayaskinin. Here we're talking about Bishulya denapoche. That means that this is the apprentice of the blacksmith. And therefore, the apprentice of the blacksmith, if you kill him, you're not chayiv to go to Golas. Says the Gemara, Shulya denapoche miktilekoi, is the person who's an apprentice for a blacksmith, you're permitted to kill him and you're not going to have any repercussions for that? Answers the Gemara, that Bryce is talking about when the master is asking him, please leave, and he doesn't leave. And therefore, because he didn't leave, that's why if he got killed, the master will not go to Golas. The blacksmith will not go to Golas. Says the Gemara, just because the apprentice doesn't want to leave, does that give the right for the master, the owner of the store, to kill him? Answers the Gemara, no. He really asked him to leave, and then he didn't see him. Kisover yotzo. He thought that the guy left. And if he thinks that the guy left, so then if he ends up killing him, it's not his fault. He's an oinus. And because he's an oinus, so then he doesn't go to Golas. If so, acher nami. What's the difference if it was an apprentice? Even if it's a strange guy who's in the blacksmith store, if you're begging him get out of the store because it's dangerous, and you think he left, and you end up killing him, you should also not go to Golas. Answers the Gemara, and this is we go to Daf Lamed Gimel Olam Aleph. Acher leslei emso derabe. By somebody else, even if you ask somebody to leave, he's not scared of you. He'll end up staying. So therefore, if you do kill him, you have to go to Golas because that's a real shoygig. That's not an oinus, because you have to really be somebody checking around. So it's a mistake, you'll go to Golas. Hi, Islay Imsu the Rabbi. But the apprentice has the fear of the master. And the master could really make the assumption that when he asked him to leave, he actually left. If he didn't leave, then we're not going to fault the master at all. Again, the point of this whole Gemara is that the only time you're going to go to Golas is if it's an absolute mistake. But if it's something that really you had no choice, or it's not really a mistake, it's something less than a mistake, you were almost like forced into it, so then you would not go to Golas. And the Gemara makes the difference that when a person asks his apprentice to leave the store, he can assume that the guy left the store, and therefore, if he ends up killing him, it's an oinus, and he's not obligated to go to Golas. Rab Zvid mashmei de Rava Masnela. Rab Zvid explained Rab Yosi Bachanina's statement of Potter Megolas and Yechayev Nezek on the following case. Totally different. A guy throws stones in the Rishus Harabim. A guy throws stones in the Rishus Harabim, right? Umatza, and it hits somebody. So then, Prat, the Brisa says, Lamamtzias Atzmai. It's a guy who stuck his head out and the stone hit him in the face. In other words, that's the exception. Then you're not chayev. Mikan, in other words, when the guy threw it, nobody was there. But then as the stone is in there, flying in the air, somebody stuck his head out and got hit. Mikan Omer Rab Lezer ben Yaakov, and this Rab Lezer ben Yaakov made the statement, Mi sheyatzusa even mitachas yoysi. Anybody who threw a stone from his hand, v'hoitzi hala es roisha v'kibla, and this guy, not knowingly, stuck his head out the window and all of a sudden got hit. Potter, you're potter. And that's exactly what the Brisa says. But potter from what? Rabbi Yosi Bachanina, on this Rabbi Yosi Bachanina says, potter megolus. You'll be potter from, if the guy got killed because of the stone, you won't go to exile. Because you're chayiv in paying for damages, nezek, tzari, shavis, or boishes. Why? Because you have no right throwing stones in the place where people are walking or people could actually, become in danger. So you chayiv and nezek, but you potter from galus. And that's where you put the Rabbi Yossi B'Chanina's words. So these are the cryptic words of Rabbi Yossi B'Chanina, and we had three interpretations of how it goes. So mind the Masmah, someone who put it by this case, Rab Zvid, Koshkina Kamaisa, certainly on the previous cases, you won't go to galus. Umam the Masna Kamaisa, but the ones that put it on the previous case by the case of the blacksmith, if you put it on those cases that you potter from galus and chayev benezek avalaha, but in this case he would say potter legamre. Why? Why would you be potter even for damages? Because by the case of the store of the carpenter, since he sees people walking in, even though they're not supposed to walk into his store, he's supposed to be more careful and not continue his work when somebody walked in without permission. But here, when you threw the stone, you had no idea somebody was there and in the house going to stick his head out, and therefore it could be in this case you'll be potter at all. New Gemara, very interesting Gemara. Tanu Rabbanan. You have workers who worked a full day by somebody, and now they want to collect their paycheck, and they are coming to collect their reward from the balabayas. And all of a sudden, the ox of the balabayas gored them. Okay, so they went to his house. And all of a sudden he had a wild ox that gored and killed one of them, or he had a wild dog that bit one of them. Umes, and one worker died. Potter, the owner of the house, does not have to pay koifer. When your animal kills somebody, you chayiv to pay koifer. Here, you don't have to pay koifer the value of the person that got killed. Acher says, no, you have to pay koifer. Rashoyin payal and tvoyis charma balabayis. They are allowed to walk into somebody's house to collect their wages. The Tanna Kamma hold they had no permission to go into the owner's house to collect their wages. And therefore, if some accident happens and they get killed because of the owner's pet, so then the guy's potter from paying koifer. But Acherim says, no, they're allowed to go into the owner, the person they work for, their boss's house to collect their wages. So the Gemara says like this: why is somebody allowed to go into somebody's house to collect a wage? Hey chidami, what are we talking about here? If the boss is found in the city by his office, so therefore they had no right to go to his house to collect wages. They should have gone to the office. So my time at Acherim, why do Acherim say no? They have a right to walk into his house. If the guy doesn't have an office, but he only works from home, so therefore my time at the Tanna Kamma. Why does the Tanna Kamma say they had no right to go to his house to collect their wages? So we have a middle case. He works part-time at home and part-time at the office. And what happened over here? They went to his house, Vikori Ababa, and they knocked on the door, V'amalahu, and he said to them, in, yes. What does yes mean? Does yes mean come in? So Marsova, Acherim hold, in means yes. Ul, come in. Tomashma, come, he'll get up and come in. And therefore, if they come in and the wild dog bites and kills one of them, he's chayiv to pay kofer, because by saying yes, he's effectively saying, come into my house. Umar Sava, but the Tanna Kamma says in means yes, but kuma dichtich machshma. Yes means stay in your place. Don't come into my house. And if they come into their house, then it's their fault, and we don't fault the owner if they get killed. Tanya command in kum aduchtich machma. We find a brisa that agrees with the Tanna Kamma that when somebody answers the door and says yes, it means stay in your place. Don't come into my house. The Tanya, we learned in a brisa, a worker who comes to collect his wages from the owner, and then the ox of the owner or his dog bit them, potter, afalpi, even though shenichnas birshus, even if though they had permission to walk into the house, the guy would be potter from paying for koifer if they got killed. Says the Gemara, what do you mean? If the guy says, come into my house, so why would they be potter from paying? Why would the owner of the house be potter from paying koifer? He gave them permission to come into the house. Am I potter? Why would he be potter? elalav. It doesn't mean they went in with permission. They thought they had permission. The Korea Baba, they knocked on the door, but Amalei, and he said in, yes. And they thought that means come into the house. But really, when someone answers the door and says yes, it means stay in your place. I'm coming to you. In means that we see from there that the word yes means stay in your place and don't come into my house. And if something comes into the house, he's not going to be chayiv to pay for koifer. New Gemara, new Mishnah. If you have two sharim who are tamen, so they all pay 50% of the damages, that they damaged each other, they got into a fight, so then you deduct what's common by both, the damages that's equal by both oxes, and yet the one that got more will get paid what he's owed, half an ezek from the guf of the body of the tam of one of the ox. So the balance, what's owed. For example, let's say you have a shar that's worth 100. They got into a fight with somebody that was worth 50. That was the damages. So the one has to pay 50 in damages, and one has to pay 25 in damages. So 25 and 25 is crossed out. They cancel each other out. And the extra, the balance of 25, should be paid by the tam that overdid the damage to the other one. Shneim mu'adim, let's say they both have to pay 100% of the damages. Again, the one that paid more, whatever the balance is, he will pay to make the other person whole. Echad tam ve'echad mu'ad. Let's say one pays 50% and one pays 100%. Mu'ad betam. So if the mu'ad got damaged through the tam, so mishalim b'moisa. If the mu'ad got damaged the tam, mishalim b'moisa nezek shalom. He has to pay nezek shalom. In other words, if the mu'ad did more damage than the tam did more damage, so then he has to make it up with the balance of nezek shalom. Tam b'mu'ad. If the opposite happened, where the tam made more damage than the mu'ad did damage, he has to fill out the balance till he reaches paying chatzi nezek. So whoever pays more has to fill it, make sure that he completes his payment. Let's say two people get into a fight. So one obviously did more damage to the other person. So the one that did more damage will pay the balance. You cancel out what they both did damage to each other, and if there's anything extra, the one that did the more damage has to pay. Now here's the point. Let's say an Adam gets into a fight with a shar, and a muad gets into a fight with an Adam. They pay the balance nezek shalom. But here's the point. Adam b'tam. Let's say a man gets into a fight with a tam. Utam ba'adam. And tam gets into a fight with an Adam. Now, this is an animal fighting with a human being. So the question of the Mishnah is, the Torah says a tam that gets into a fight with another ox pays 50%. But what happens if it gets into a fight with an Adam? So Adam b'tam, the Adam pays with the tam. The Tanna Kamma holds Mishalim b'moiseh nezek shalom. Tam ba'adam Mishalim b'moiseh chatzi nezek. The Tanna Kamma holds that a tam damaging a human being pays half a nezek. Doesn't pay, it pays half a nezek as if it damaged another shar. That's the key point over here. A tam damaging a human, according to the Tanna Kamma, pays half a nezek. Rabbi Akiva says, Af tam shechava ba'adam, even a tam that did damage to a human being, b'shalom b'moiseh nezek shalom, they pay 100% of the damages. It's different. A tam pays normally 50%. But now, if it damaged a human being, then it pays nezek shalom. That's the point of this Mishnah. Says the Gemara, Tanar Rabbanan, Kamishpat hazeh ye'asaloi, Kamishpat shor b'shor, Kach mishpat shor ba'odam. Ma shor b'shor, tam mishalim chatzi nezek, mu'ud mishalim nezek shalom. Av shor ba'odam, tam mishalim chatzi nezek, mu'ud mishalim nezek shalom. So this is the posik that sells the Tanna Kamma that it's equal. The Torah says that if the Torah says there's one din, kamishpat hazeh, the same halachas apply. Just like when a shar damages a shar, first time it's 50%, the fourth time already it's 100%. So also a shar damaging a human being, the first time it's chatzi nezek, and the fourth time you'll pay nezek shalom. That's 100%. Rabbi Kiva says no. Kamishpat hazeh ketachtem lo ke'elyon. That means that since Kamishpat hazeh is written right after Muad, what the Torah is saying is that all Shorim are Muads. In other words, Adam, aftam that Chava ba'Adam will pay Nezek Shalim. And the Torah is saying that any time an ox will damage a human being, he pays like a Muad, 100% of the damages. So the Gemara says, is it exactly like a Muad? Yachal Mashalem and Aliyah? Would you pay from the bank account? Like we know that an animal, that a Muad, if the animal is worth less than what it did damage, the owner has to pay from his own bank account. So would that be the case if a tam damaged an Adam? Is it totally like a Muad that you pay min aliyah? Talmud loyman, no, you also like megufa mishalim, the aina mishalim min aliyah. You pay only from the amount, the total amount that the animal is worth, but you don't have to pay more than that. So we have, according to the Rabbi Kiva, it's like a middle road over here. That you have a tam that pays 50%, a muad that pays 100%, but the muad pays 100% from an aliyah, and then you have the middle of the road. Tam damaging an adam pays 100% of the damages, but only megufay, not me'aliyah. Now the Gemara asks, Rabbanan zeh lamali, what did Rabbanan do with this pasuk zeh? Kamishpat zeh, because they don't seem to have anything that it limits. That means that a tam that damages a human being does not have to pay doctor bills, nezek tzar, ripi, shevis, aboises. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Kiva, how does Rabbi Kiva know that if an animal damages a human being, he don't pay abar devarim? Nafkele, he learns it. The Torah says that only if a human damages a human, then you pay nezek tzar, ripi, shevis, aboises, but not if a shard damages a human being. Says the Gemara of Rabbanan, there's a clear pasuk that says that it only applies by humans, abar devarim, but not shar. Says the Gemara, no. If that I would have only had that pasuk, hava mina tsar lechudei. Only tsar, a shar would not pay, because tsar is something that the person didn't lose any money from, because you're paying nezek ripi shavish abaishis. So I might think tsar only if a human damages a human, but not a shar damaging a human. I would think, but if a shard damages a human being, you would pay ripi Shabbos. That's why Kamash Milan. That's why I need zeh. Zeh teaches me that an animal damaging a human is patim abar dvarim. Albeit, if it's a tam, according to the Tana Kamma Rabbanan, a tam damaging a human, you'll only pay 50%. New Mishnah. Shar shava mona shenogach shar shava Messiah. The eina nevela yafa klum. A shar that's a tam, that's worth $100, that gored an animal that's worth $200, and now that animal that's worth $200 is the nevel is not worth anything. Noitel es hashar. So the shar, so he's owed half damages. So the guy, the injured party, the shar, the shava Messiah, the owner of that one will just confiscate the shar that's worth 100 because he's owed 100. So he'll just take the live shar as his own. Says the Gemara, masnisa money. Who's our Mishnah going like? Rabbi Kiva he. Goes according to Rabbi Kiva. The Tanya, we learned in the Braisa, when a tam damages a person, when a dam damages another shar, Yusham Ashar Bebezdin de Reb Shmuel. It doesn't mean that automatically the shar tam belongs to the nizik. No, Bezdin decides what the owner of the mazik has to pay. He could pay it with his own shar, or he could write a check. That's the words of Rabbi Shmuel. Rabbi Kiva, Huchlet Hashar. His shar is confiscated. If it's exactly it's confiscated. And that's why our Mishnah says that you mamish confiscate the shar that did the damage. And that's why our Mishnah goes according to Rabbi Kiva. But my kumi palgi, what are they arguing about? Rabbi Shmuel holds Bal Chayv hu v'zuzi hu d'masakle. When your shar damages, it's not like your shar now belongs to the nizik. You're just somebody that owes money, and you just have to give him money. Rabbi Kiva Sava shutafin, automatically the nizik becomes a partner in the shar of the mazik. They're arguing what this pasuk means. The pasuk says by a shar tam that did the damage, they sell it and they split the difference. They split the money. Rabbi Shmuel says the Torah is telling Bezdin, you decide either you sell the shar or make the mazik pay half the damages. Rab Kiva Savar, Rab Sisa says no. The Torah is talking to the nizik and the mazik that they both now own a shar. In case the shar is worth more than half the damages, they're just partners in the shar of the mazik. It's a funny thing that shar mazik did damage to the shar nizik. Now the nizik now owns, according to Rabbi Kiva, he's like a partner now in the shar of the mazik. My benai, what would be the difference? Higdish nizik big benai. If the nizik said, I want to make my share hegdish, if he really owns, according to Rabbi Kiva, the shar of the mazik, he's allowed to make it hegdish. But according to Rabbi Shmuel, he won't be able to make it hegdish. So Rav Nachman asked the question according to Rav Nachman. Mochrei mazik Rabbi Shmuel maho. If according to Rabbi Shmuel, if the mazik sold his portion, Rabbi Kiva Rabbi Shmuel Bachayv, who was easy to masaklei machur. Since he's allowed to sell it, so then since he's just about chayv, he just owes money because his shar did damage, so he can sell it, and he'll still be taken to court. Would Rabbi Shmuel say that's okay? Or maybe Kivin the mishabed leila nizik lav kol kimine. Since he now owes money to the nizik, so how could you sell the shar? How could the mazik sell the shar? He's heading to court to Bezdin, and therefore he should not be allowed to sell the animal that did the damage. Amalei, so Rav Nachman answered, he's not allowed to sell the ox. Once that ox is involved in the killing or damaging, you're not allowed. The mazik cannot sell the ox. Frag the Gemara about Tanya, we learned the Brisa Mechore. He is allowed to sell it. Mechore, if he sold it, Mechore, it's sold. And says the Gemara, Choyze v'Goyveya. The nizik can now collect it from the person that bought it. So then what does the Brisa mean? What if the nizik could collect it from the person that bought it, then why does the Brisa say it's sold? If the mazik sells it, it's a good sale. Liridya means the nizik cannot say, oh, during the time till I collected it from you, you plowed with this ox, now you owe me something for the plowing that you did till I collected from you. So in that part, it's sold. It means he got away with it. But truth be told, the nizik can now, even if the mazik sold the ox, the nizik could go to the person that bought it and said, give it to me, it's mine. Shmami na, would you say from here, loiva, if a person borrowed money, and then he sold part of it, you sold some movable items, Bezdin could recollect it. I mean, how could that be? Only at worst, as a nizik, you're only obligated to pay of karka. But if you sell movable items, that's movable items are not meshubit to a loan. Answers the Gemara, no. I mean, the commander also paiti. Once your animal did damage, it's as if you said, this is where you're going to collect from. Another half a minute, and then we'll stop. Says the Gemara, Rava said, also avdei paitiki, if you guaranteed your slave for a loan, and you sold the slave, then the lender can collect the slave from the person that bought it. But if you said, my ox should be a guarantee for my loan, and you sold the ox, the Baal Choiv cannot collect it from them. So therefore, how could this ox, which did the damage, now that it's sold, how could the person say, oh, it's a good sale, and you can't collect, and he could, now the nizik could collect it back from him. Even if you say it's an apaitiki, but we say a shoyrei that you made an apaitiki and you sell it, the Baal Choiv cannot collect it back from him. Answers the Gemara, very simple. Eved my taima. What's the reason why a slave, when you sell a slave, you can recollect it from the person that bought it, mishum de islay koila, because the person that bought it knows that this slave is liened for a loan. Hainame. This person that bought this ox that did the damage, when he bought it, he took a risk. Even the nagach, since this ox did damage, kala islay. Everybody knows that this ox everybody heard about that this ox did the damage. The Torah nakha korele, everybody calls it the ox that does damage. So when he bought it, he took the risk that it could be collected back from him. And if the nizik decides to collect that ox back from him, he has a right to do so, even though it's a movable item. Okay, we'll stop over here by Tanu Rav Khalifa. Okay.
Sure.